Hey, check out this new sword. It's falling apart in my hands. Hi everyone, this is Ben from Hammer and Steel. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. Today this video is brought to us by weaponmasters.com. We're going to be looking at swords that are between $30 and $50. So here's the hypothetical. You go to a Renaissance fair and have a finite amount of money. Pay your site fee, buy your turkey leg, you want to buy a sword. So you show up to the sword vendor and you don't have enough money for one of the nicer swords. So you end up picking up one of these guys between $30 and $50. When you first pick it up and pay for it, it seems fine. But once you get it home, you start noticing some things. There's a wave in the blade. It rattles really bad. And for some reason, it just spins in your hand. There's no real control. Is it a piece of garbage? If that's all you can afford, then that's what you've got. Today's video is about taking one of these, making them much better. In the process, I hope you learn a lot about swords. Also, I hope you learn a lot about sword construction and what makes for a good sword. So, where do you start? Well, let's do a little bit of research. For all intents and purposes, this seems to be either a Mainz or a Pompeii Roman Gladius. So, there's some blatant things to start off with. First, this handle, way too big, should be up closer. Also with this blade, the beveling ends right about here. So, that leaves us with this much material. That gives me the idea. I can move this up. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut out a shoulder. I'm going to hog out some material in the pommel so it slides up higher. Then, I'm going to remove one of these spacers. Where do we start with deconstruction? Well, this sword is most definitely what's called a rat tail tang. What that means is this piece of steel that makes up the blade ends right about here, and then has a round stock with a threaded end welded right there. So what we can do is, we've already taken the cap off, that just spins off, that's our pommel right there. We'll set it down there. And then these spacers all come off individually one at a time. That's a lot of moving parts that can fail on you. And then the cross trees, they just come up like that. And lo and behold, there we go. That is a rat tail tang if I ever saw one. This will fail right here because that is where a lot of stress will be on this sword. If I move the stress point further this way, this will be a lot stronger blade. So we'll make a shoulder, we'll hog out material, we'll put 3 spacers in. This will leave me a lot of space at the top. Put it all the way down the stock. I'm going to cut off the top. I'm going to heat the top, and I'm going to ping it on. That's the plan for this Gladius. Now let's go start grinding. The furniture of the handle's all been put back together. I've taken out a lot of the brass spacers between the knuckles. Now the handle's all been put back together, we're going to peen it together. I'm going to use this JB Weld steel stick stuff. I'll mix it up like a putty and put it on the nooks and crannies. Then after that we'll move on to some actual epoxy. We'll epoxy it on, we'll heat up the end of the peen it on, the sword should be done. Catch on fire. Alright, so the sword is done. First off, the obvious. It is a lot shorter. Creating more of a tang into the blade and shortening the handle, we lost almost 7 inches of length. Now this isn't a bad thing with the Roman Gladius, as they were predominantly shorter weapons, and in the close ranks of the Roman soldiers' battle arena, a smaller blade makes for an easier blade to work with. Something you have to remember about Roman Gladius is many of them carried larger shields called scutums, and they're the large square shield we see in the movies. We removed some pieces out of the handle, making it much more ergonomic and actually fits the hand correctly. The handle before was almost 1.5 hands in length. Something else that I did is the furniture was completely hollowed out. So I filled it with a ton of stick steel. Now the handle is quite robustly connected. You get a good sound to it, and between the peening in the end, the quick steel, and the custom fitting, the handle is now quite attached to this blade. The question to be asked now is this sword serviceable as a reenactment weapon? I would still say no. There are still some things that are not correct about this blade, and when it comes to reenacting, you want to come closer to a time period piece. Now, where do I see the value in this sword? Well, the sword was not very expensive, between $35 and $50 if I remember right. But the thing I found most value with this was the experience of refurbishment. But really, it was an awesome learning experience. Technically, I would say this is still a wall hanger, but a nicer wall hanger. So in conclusion, sometimes the sword's initial value is not in the purchased value. Thank you for joining us on this journey today. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe, and go over to my Facebook page where there's more updates and giveaways. Again, I want to thank our sponsors, weaponmasters.com. Without their support, these videos would not be possible. Again, thank you for coming, and may all your days be filled with history. I forgot English words.